My ex-boyfriend was filthy rich, and because of that, I basically became his doormat. I licked his boots with all I had until a manipulative little sweetheart swooped in. On the day we broke up, I asked carefully, "Hey, the apartment you gave me, can you just fuck off?" he snapped. Under the scorching sun, I did exactly that, bolted off with the property deed in hand. I've been a simp since grade school. My desk mate back then had loads of cash, his drawers stuffed with bills. I ran errands for the little prince, $5 a trip. I was all about the money. I even escorted him to the bathroom. My piggy bank was overflowing by the time I hit 3rd grade. After he transferred schools, I used my savings to finish elementary school. Once I hit middle school, I got into a little side hustle, stuffing my backpack with snacks from a corner store during lunch break and flipping them to classmates at a markup during recess. My biggest customer was a girl named Julia, fair-skinned, pretty easily, spent hundreds in pocket money a day. She had this weird habit of buying a ton of snacks from me, never eating them, just handing them out for fun. Afterward, wrappers would be scattered all over the floor, and she'd call me over to clean. $20 per sweep. I worked hard, always buzzing around her. Most students didn't even get money, but I was already making bank. On my best day, I pulled in 300. Kids' money is always easier to earn. They haven't tasted hardship, so they don't value cash. Me? No parents. Grew up scrappy. All I thought about was how to make money. By college, I was hustling harder than ever until I met Jason. A rich kid with zero concept of money. Like the universe personally sent me a goldmine. Jason Smith, art major, real estate heir. So how'd we meet? I was the head of the disciplinary committee, and it was the 12th time I'd caught him skipping class. His advisor scowled at the attendance sheet. What? Being rich makes him special? Leave his name there. Once the advisor spoke, I stayed silent, still reported him every time. Finally, right before break, Jason came to find me. "What's your problem?" he asked. I replied carefully, "I'm just following the rules, sir." "Then, find a way around them," he said, slouched on the couch, clearly annoyed. So I did. Ran around with him, found a fix. He was pleased with how obedient I was, maybe in a good mood. Maybe just pitying my broke self, so he handed me a gold pendant worth 30 grand. I bowed to him like he was royalty and started sending daily good mornings and good nights. One day, he asked if I had a crush on him. I nervously replied, "You don't like my texts? I'll stop sending them." He didn't answer immediately. Then, finally, "Your name's Jennifer Delaney, right?" "Yes," I replied sweetly. "You know Julia, the campus beauty?" "Yeah, she's failing a class." "Got it. I'll ask around in the next couple days." "Cool, thanks." Classic Jason, my favorite kind of rich boy. He followed up with a red envelope, 5 grand. I didn't hesitate, took it, and replied with a big thank you emoji. Maybe because I took too much too soon. But after we started dating, the thing he said most often was, "Jennifer, can you stop being so money hungry?" I didn't argue, because I am money hungry. I took every single red envelope he gave me. From the start, I wasn't after the man, I was after the wallet. How did we even start dating? Back to Julia again. Funny how fate kept us tied. Same middle school, same high school, even same college. But once college started, our majors were too different. We barely talked, just nodded when we ran into each other. Then one night, Jason called me out of the blue, asked if I had a car. I said yes. He said he was drunk, couldn't drive, sent me a red envelope for gas, and asked me to pick him up. So, in the dead of night, I rolled out on my junky electric scooter. When he saw it, he laughed. "First time on one of these. Want me to call you a cab?" "Nah, cabs suck. The scooter's fine, good breeze." So I picked him up. But before we even made it back, he started getting emotional. Crying, mumbling. She rejected me my first time confessing, and she turned me down. The night wind made him even more pitiful. Then he just hugged me from behind and fell asleep on my back. I froze. This wasn't part of the deal. Hugging, that costs extra. When we stopped, Jason didn't say a word, just sent me a transfer. 20 grand. The memo? Be my girlfriend. I bit my lip and accepted it. He looked at the receipt, smiled, shoved his phone in his pocket, and strolled into the dorm like nothing happened. I stood in the cold wind, finally realizing this wasn't a love confession. This was rebound therapy. That night, I stared at my bank balance, grinning ear to ear, slept like a baby. I had a boyfriend now, but only Jason and I knew. He didn't say anything. Neither did I. Sometimes he'd send me a red envelope with a note, "Come eat," followed by an address. I'd rush over, happy as can be. Free money and a free meal? Hell yes. Sometimes it'd just be the two of us. He'd book a private room, leisurely dining away like the pampered heir he was. He couldn't stand how much I ate, though. After 2 bites, he'd raise an eyebrow, drink some soup, so I'd take a sip, check his face, then keep eating. In group settings, I toned it down, quietly, politely, chewing small bites. If someone called my name, I'd look up, smile, and respond. Only spoke when spoken to. When they said I was well-behaved, I just smiled and nodded. Well-behaved? I wouldn't know. But I'll say this, if you were an orphan, you'd be even more well-behaved than me. I always played it safe. Then came my birthday. Jason invited me to his yacht. Sea breeze, pure bliss. I closed my eyes and made a wish. He leaned lazily against the couch and interrupted. What's the point of keeping a wish to yourself? Just say it out loud. I hesitated, then said firmly, I want an apartment. Jason raised an eyebrow. You know what? My family's in real estate. Congrats. Wish granted. I'll take you to transfer the deed in a few days. He stayed slouched there, casually scrolling through his phone. That offhand promise of his, my heart raced, but I didn't dare ask if he meant it. I just cut myself a slice of cake and sat beside him eating. The sunset over the dock was beautiful. The frosting was sweet, and for a moment, I felt an overwhelming urge to kiss Jason. I didn't want the apartment anymore. I figured I'd save up for one eventually. Right then, all I wanted was to kiss him, but I didn't say anything. I didn't move. He kept playing with his phone, bored. Then he clicked on a voice message, whatever it said. I didn't hear, but he frowned. Let's go. Time to head back. The sky was darkening. He left early. I rented a little electric scooter and only found out once I got back to the dorm Julia had passed out from low blood sugar and was rushed to the hospital. I went over and saw one of my roommates scrolling through a phone. Someone had taken a picture at the hospital. Jason was right there beside her. I suddenly remembered the cake I hadn't finished. After a while, I yawned, grabbed my phone, and climbed into bed. For the next few days, Jason was busy, and I didn't text him. Not until the day Julia was discharged, Jason messaged me, asking if I wanted to hang out. He said it was a trip to the countryside, sent a red envelope, so I happily packed my bag and went. When I got there, I realized they'd brought 2 cars, 8 people total. I made the 9th. I froze for a second. Everyone was seated. No one said a word. It was awkward, but I was already there, so turning back would have been even more awkward. Jason looked at me, frowned, then glanced at the sightseeing tram nearby. Julia grabbed my arm. Come on up, we'll squeeze a bit. There was a little space beside her, but she'd just gotten out of the hospital and still didn't look well. I quickly shook my head. I'll take the tram. It gets there too. Julia looked at me, met my eyes, and after a pause, let go. Their car drove off, leaving me alone in the pavilion. It wasn't tourist season, so the place was deserted. I sat there by myself. I waited a long time until the tram came. When I got to the top, it was already late. Everyone else had started barbecuing. I barely knew them, maybe shared a meal once or twice. I found a quiet corner and sat there from noon till afternoon. Jason was grilling skewers. Occasionally one would end up in front of me. The scenery was beautiful. I ate until I was half full, then stood up to wander a bit. I told Jason. He seemed distracted today, didn't even look at me, just gave a half-hearted, "Yeah, sure." The mountain air was refreshing. As someone who grew up in an orphanage, I rarely had chances to go out like this. I strolled around for nearly an hour. Figured they'd be done eating by now, so I headed back. But when I arrived, I didn't expect what I saw. The place was empty. That was when I realized no one is truly without grievances. It was already dusk. The tram had stopped running. I had to walk down the mountain. As the sun set, I was alone again. Halfway down, my phone died. Still, I kept walking quietly. The path reminded me of the time I ran away from the orphanage as a child. Same dim light, same hazy surroundings, until everything turned into pitch black. I couldn't find my way home. My dad was never coming back. I looked around, panic creeping in, and broke into a run. Moonlight spilled across the narrow trail. I was scared. I used all my strength to cry out, "Jason!" My voice echoed through the mountains, chilling me to the bone. I ended up walking the whole night, scared the entire way. Finally, at dawn, I found a bus stop and flagged down a driver. He helped me charge my phone and, when he turned to look at me, jumped. "You were out all night? Why didn't you call 911? I held up my phone. Forgot to check the battery. It died. "Young lady, don't go hiking alone again. At least take a boyfriend or a friend." I had, or maybe not. "Yeah, got it. Thanks, sir." When I turned my phone back on, I saw Jason's message from last night. He'd said he was heading out first and told me not to stay too late. I gave a bitter smile, curled up in the back seat, and dozed off. Jason still hit me up every few days for dinner. One day, he suddenly remembered that promise from my birthday. He transferred a property to me. Not a big one, 3 bedrooms, 1 living room. No one had ever lived there. Probably something he kept on hand to give away. The day I got the deed, I was as happy as ever. I grinned and explored every inch of my tiny new place. Jason didn't get it. "It's just a little apartment. What's there to like?" I nodded solemnly. "You don't understand." I was still working in the disciplinary office. When I didn't have classes, I covered for Jason. His only rule? Stay out of trouble if he wasn't attending class. I did my job. Over Chinese New Year while everyone went home. I didn't because I had no home. I stayed at my new apartment. It was simply furnished. No TV. So I figured I'd buy one before the holiday. While I was out shopping, I ran into Jason. He was with his little sister, who looked about 8 or 9. Really cute. Jason didn't seem like the type to know how to handle kids. When he saw me, he grabbed my arm. I quickly played my usual part. "Hey, Jason, do you know how to fold paper cranes?" "Yeah. Teacher, I'll send you a red envelope." "You got it." I nodded right away. Then I noticed the girl holding a piece of paper, tears welling in her eyes. She handed it to me. It was just a plain sheet of colored paper. I folded it into a crane, and she clutched it happily before running back to the group. Jason frowned. "Don't know what's so special about some cheap paper." I shook my head. "Has nothing to do with money. If you like something, even the cheapest thing becomes a treasure." Maybe he didn't expect that answer. He glanced at me. "You here to buy something?" "Yeah, wanted a TV. You helped. Come on, I'll help you pick one." He helped me choose. Jason didn't care about money, which meant he was probably gifting it to me. I lit up. "Thanks, Jason." Jason bought me a really nice TV. We were close, but not really boyfriend and girlfriend. Maybe just friends. Maybe just acquaintances. I was a junior now, 21 this year. I made dumplings by myself, watched fireworks alone. On the streets, young people were running around with sparklers. I clutched the fireworks I'd bought and mingled into the crowd, heading toward the riverbank. I watched as fireworks shot into the sky. Back at the orphanage, every New Year's Eve, we'd finish dinner early and be sent to bed. No one could sleep, we'd all wait for midnight. When the firecrackers finally went off outside, we'd squeeze around the tiny window and stare out at the scene. At first, only one kid cried. Then all of us were crying. Quietly, without making a sound, just watching the night through the window, tears falling. We didn't want to upset the caretakers, but we missed home. Tonight, watching the fireworks, I cried again. It was loud and lively around me. I looked up at the dazzling sky, laughing and wiping my tears. Someone tugged at me. I looked down, it was a little girl, Jason's sister. She was holding a stuffed tiger and wearing a tiger ear hat, her eyes sparkling. The big sister who folds paper cranes. "What's your name? Where's your brother?" I picked her up. "I'm Kristen. My brother's over there." I followed the direction she pointed and saw the group, same people from the mountain trip. Jason stood in the middle. They'd bought tons of beautiful fireworks, lighting up the night. Their fireworks were bright and grand, and I could step a little closer to admire them. I put the little girl down and watched her run over. I took a few steps back and left. On New Year's Day, close to noon, a knock at the door woke me up. Jason was there. He handed me Kristen. "She insisted on seeing you for New Year's greetings, made a whole scene." I sighed helplessly. "Happy New Year, big sister." I never thought anyone would come greet me for the holiday. After some digging around, I stubbornly found a red paper envelope and gave her a lucky packet. But before they could leave, there was another knock. First day of the new year, lots of people around. I opened the door, and someone crashed into me. "Sis, did you miss me? I missed you like crazy." The young man clung to me like he was ready to hang from my neck. I struggled with all my strength. "Luke Dawson, let go." "No way." Someone's here." Luke finally let go and saw Jason inside, holding Kristen. He stared, stunned, then looked back at me in disbelief. "Sis, don't tell me you became someone's stepmom for the money." I laughed, exasperated. "Seriously? You think I'd do that?" "Do I look that old?" It was Jason who spoke first. Luke rolled his eyes and whispered in my ear, "Who is this guy? Talks like he owns the place. Anyone else would think he's your dad." "Shut up." "He's a friend, Jason. That's his sister, Kristen. This is my half-brother, Luke." Luke frowned. "Sis, why brother? Can't I be your boyfriend?" "No, I'm not into that kind of relationship." "Tch, interest can be nurtured." "Fine, I'll take the hit, call me Gege instead, okay, sis? Don't go." "What's for lunch?" "I took an overnight train yesterday." "I'm starving and exhausted, sis." "Go sit at the table. 3 minutes. I'll heat it in the microwave and bring it over." "No, you always burn yourself on the microwave. I'll get it myself. And burn your hands too." "Shut up." I bought oven, mitts. Jason watched us bicker from outside the kitchen for a bit, then picked up his sister and left. After eating, Luke happily went to nap in his room. He was staying in my room. I hadn't bought any extra bedding, only my room was livable. I didn't expect Luke to come. Our universities are far apart, one in the north, one in the south. Just getting here required 4 transfers, and during the holiday, tickets are hard to come by. Every year on the phone, he'd say he couldn't make it. This year, I even called him to check. He said he didn't get a ticket. And yet, on New Year's Day, he showed up. After 3 years apart, the boy had changed a lot. He'd grown taller, but when I saw him, he still felt like the same kid. Some big stores had reopened on New Year's Day. I bought a new bedding set and a 4-piece sheet set. Just those cost nearly $2,000. It hurt to spend that much, but Luke's bedding had to be better. He has sensitive skin. I still remember the day he arrived at the orphanage. They put him in the bed next to mine and told me to look after him. That night, he had an allergic reaction. The next morning, I found a puffy-faced kid and almost had a heart attack. I rushed him to the hospital, and the doctor said he was allergic to the bedding, almost suffocated. After that, Luke had his own special blanket. No one else could touch it. I was the only exception because he was too little to wash or air it out. Ever since I carried him to the hospital that night, Luke became clingy. He was allergic to everything except me. Like he was coated in glue, always sticking to me. When he was little, he was tiny and easy to carry. Now he's 6 tall, him clinging to me is seriously inappropriate. Luke woke up at 8 p.m. and stumbled out to find me. First thing he did was try to cuddle up again. I shoved him away. That snapped him out of it. Good evening, sis. Heat up your own food, use the mitts. Your room's next door. Sis, do you want to check my suitcase? Huh? I brought you a gift. I opened the small suitcase suspiciously. Inside was a bouquet of roses, neatly packed. Happy New Year, sis. I looked at the flowers. Happy New Year. Sis, there's also a bank card in the bouquet. The password's your birthday. Luke. Yeah? This isn't necessary. It is. Maybe you don't need it, but it's important to me. Not just because I like you, but because I want to give you something even if you end up marrying someone else, or living alone. That's not a reason to reject me. If you won't let me be family, then let me be the family you come from. Sis, I didn't dare come before. I had nothing, no money, no confidence. I didn't dare say anything or face you. But now I finally can. I've missed you so much these past few years. It's driven me crazy. Get out. Forget dinner, take your flowers, and get back to your room. Nope. I'm starving. Don't be so moved, sis. Who's moved? I just cry easily, okay? It's a condition. Luke stayed with me for a while. I took him out to buy clothes. Most of his need custom fabric. Not for show, it's just more stable that way. Compared to others, Luke's the real deal, born to be pampered. This was my 7th time running into Jason while shopping this year. I was getting used to it. He looked at me, face unreadable. Luke didn't like him, he grumbled as soon as he saw him. What's with the sour face? Sis, how much do you owe this guy? Should I sell myself to pay your debt? 'Cause staring at this human thundercloud all the time can't be healthy. Shut up! He gave me that apartment, the one we're living in. Huh? That little place? We could have pooled our money and gotten it ourselves. If not, we could have just given it back. Shut it. I earned that place. I went on some rich boy's camping trip and ended up hiking all night. That place is mine. Sis, you've suffered enough. Just wait, my startup's finally taking off. When I make it big, I'll buy you 10 places. Go get your masters, okay? I'll move over and keep you company. If my friends ask why I'm in this city, I'll say I'm keeping a grad student as my sugar baby. Just imagine the look on their faces. Get lost. Jason frowned as he looked at our 2 heads practically glued together. Why do you need to be that close to talk? Luke muttered under his breath, talking smack about you, then looked up with a smile. Brother Jason, I'm heading out soon. Please look after my sister. She's timid, don't make her hike mountains overnight. She's just a girl, it's scary for her. Jason froze. When did I ever make her? He didn't finish. His eyes locked onto mine. I looked down in silence. Not my fault. I didn't say anything. Luke tugged at him again. Jason, bro. Thank you so much for looking after her lately. Is there anything you like? I'd love to send you something. I don't need anything. Jason didn't look pleased, but Luke just smiled. Let me add you on WeChat. If there's ever anything you need, let me know. My sister's out here all alone, no family around. She gets nervous. Just come to me if anything comes up. Luke had to leave before school started. He lingered forever before finally heading out. Once he got to the station, he turned and called out, Sis, don't forget me! I stepped forward and hugged him. He froze, staring at me. Sis, was that a yes? I didn't say a word, just quietly slipped the bank card into his pocket. It took him a moment to catch on. Then he hugged me back, careful and gentle. After he cleared security, I pointed at his pocket. He touched it and stiffened. Sis, come back. Take the card. I've got money. Sis, don't go, mister. Can I go back for a second? Can you give this card to that girl? Sis, just turn around. I covered my ears and walked away quickly. Honestly, not seeing Luke was easier. When we didn't meet, we just shared little things, thought of each other now and then. The feelings didn't feel so heavy. But once we met, parting became unbearable. I couldn't stop the ache in my chest. That card had 800, 0 yuan in it. He must have scraped together every last bit he had. It was too much. If it'd been a little less, I might have kept it. After Luke left, my new semester started, junior spring. I planned to prep for grad school, so I resigned from my position as department head. I reached out to Jason, just to finalize some things. I told him there was no need to send me red envelopes anymore. He could go through the advisor if anything came up. He replied after a long time, "Okay." I confirmed and didn't think much of it. Jason hadn't contacted me for a while. Then one day I heard he was dating someone new. I thought it was Julia, but turns out it wasn't. People said she was very pretty. I wanted to settle one last thing. I brought my property deed and went to see him. He was at his family's villa. A beautiful woman was beside him. When he saw me, he frowned. I hesitated. About the apartment. Jennifer, is this really what you came here to say? And the money from your confession. Since we were never actually together, I don't think it's right for me to keep it. Jennifer. Jason was genuinely angry. His eyes practically burned. You're saying all this now just to cut ties with me. I'm not. Well, I don't want to see you right now. Can you leave? I froze. Then, after a long pause, said softly, "Sure." I walked away with the deed in my arms. Later, I thought this was my compensation for putting up with everything. I couldn't walk away with nothing but pain. I happily carried that deed home. If I didn't keep it now, I'd never get it again. Even if I sold it, it'd be worth close to $1 million. I could buy Luke a nice watch. I saw Jason one more time at graduation. He was in his gown, looking sharp. As we passed, he grabbed my wrist. Jennifer, was there ever a moment you liked me? Not for the money, just liked me? I thought for a bit, then shook my head. Jason, it's precisely because of the money that people like you. What's that supposed to mean? Because you're generous. People who give a lot always create the illusion of being loved. I smiled. When you said you'd give me a house, I was stunned. I thought, maybe you liked me too. Why else would you be so generous? But then I figured it out. You have so many houses. It doesn't mean anything to you. Real love isn't like that. Real love doesn't mean I get lost on a mountain all night and no one notices. I hardly know anyone in this city. That mountain was pitch black. I was terrified, and all I could do was hope you'd come for me. I kept thinking, maybe you were already looking for me. Maybe I just missed your call because my phone was dead. I called out so many times my throat went raw. But when the sun came up, all I saw was a bus stop. Jason didn't let go. He held my wrist so tight, it crumpled my sleeve. And then, in a low voice, he whispered, I didn't mean to. Jason, I'm getting married after graduation. I'll send you an invitation. You better come. He looked up at me, stunned, like in a daze. After a long pause, he said, Okay, extra Jason's pov. Jennifer's getting married. I watched her walk down the aisle to someone else. She said he was her childhood friend. But if we're talking childhood, I knew her first. I first met Jennifer, not in college, but back in second grade. It was the 90s. My family was still growing, not as rich as now. My parents were always busy. They'd hand me wads of cash and tell me to buy my own snacks. When they transferred to an inland city for work, they enrolled me in a public elementary school there. That school wasn't friendly. Or to put it bluntly, they bullied me. Because I had money. Because I was small. After getting mugged a few times, I told my desk mate. Her name was Jennifer. It wasn't just someone with the same name, it was her. That little girl. The one who looked sweet on the outside but smashed people with bricks behind their backs. Back then, girls were usually taller than boys. She told me she'd protect me. For her first fight, She charged me 20 yuan. That day after school, she grabbed a brick and fought a group of boys. She stomped on one, grabbed two more, made them apologize and swear they'd never do it again, then let them go. She skipped home with my 20 yuan. For her second fight, she charged me 80. Not because she was greedy, but because she'd leveled up. The boys were scared of her catching them in public, so they jumped me in the bathroom. I didn't have any money on me and got cornered until class started. I was so small then, I thought I wasn't going to make it. I was crushed. Then Jennifer came. She walked into the bathroom and grabbed a poop scoop on her way in. At first, she just started smacking people with it. The boys dodged back and forth, not daring to fight her, but it didn't help. No one let us leave. Eventually, she got fed up. She scooped up a full ladle of crap from the toilet. The boys panicked, yelling, "Don't come near us!" She didn't. She just stood there and flung it at them. Scoop after scoop. The smell that day, the whole school was in chaos. The school demanded everyone bring in their parents. That day, Jennifer looked at the teacher and said, "I can write as many reflection papers as you want, but I was raised in an orphanage. I don't have parents." I froze. That's when I realized she was an orphan. I told them she was being heroic. My parents said the same. In the end, she didn't have to write a single apology letter. No parents showed up. Instead, she got a 500 yuan reward. Of course, that money came from my family. Later, Jennifer came back and asked if I'd pay her to run errands. I said, "Didn't you just get 500? She shook her head. "The school gave it straight to the orphanage. I won't see a cent." So I went wild, buying snacks, lunches, anything that could earn her errand money. But soon, I had to transfer schools. Before I left, I found my neighbor and gave her my favorite stuffed toy. I asked her to look after Jennifer. Her name was Julia, and she really did take care of her. But I stayed abroad for a long time, so long, I nearly forgot it all. I left at 9, came back at 18. When I returned, I felt completely out of sync with this country. Unlike them, I hadn't taken part in the Gaokao. I was an exchange student, and I looked down on everything here. I skipped classes until they told me I might not graduate. My dad blew up. I ended up at the student council. That's where I saw her again. At first, she just looked familiar. She was buried in my memory, but I hadn't connected the dots. I just thought she was greedy, and I've always hated greedy people. But somehow, I kept thinking she's actually kind of likable. I kept finding excuses to see her. Watching her eat made me happy. Celebrating her birthday made me happy. I remember the way she looked up at me. Eyes full of stars, sparkling. Jennifer was amazing, fast, efficient. Always had a solution. I could never compare. And I knew that. But it made me irrationally angry. It felt like, aside from money, she didn't need me at all. During that trip, I was already annoyed for no real reason. If she was so strong, then keep being strong, right? I was waiting for her to hit a wall and come to me. But I never considered that her phone might die, that she might be stuck on that pitch-black mountain alone all night. And after that night, she drifted further and further away. She never looked at me with those hopeful eyes again. I've dated plenty of girls. I know how to manipulate emotions, so I gave her a house. I didn't pick the best one. Most girls would just complain it wasn't big enough. But Jennifer never complained. She didn't say anything. That was just how she was. Calm, unbothered. If I gave it, she was happy. If I didn't, she moved on. That's when I realized she really had no expectations of me anymore. Later, when she tried to return the apartment, I snapped. It wasn't about the house. She wanted to cut ties, make it clean. But I couldn't take the house back. I didn't want things clean. I wanted them messy. Messy meant I still had a chance. As long as she kept that apartment, there was always a chance I could win her back. Then she got married, but I didn't give up. As long as she had that apartment, if her marriage went bad, I'd have a way back in. But she changed apartments. And that guy, Luke, even rented out the one I gave her.